let's move ahead. Let's talk Premier League because there is a bunch of things going on. So originally, there was a meeting. People expect the lockdown to be eased today. There was going to be an announcement from the government today, as in Thursday, the 7th of May. Now the government has said, no, we're going to speak on Sunday, the 10th. The Prime Minister here is going to address the nation. This is pivotal to the Premier League's chances of coming back. And then later, there's going to be a conversation, I suppose, more meetings on Monday, originally scheduled for Friday. Now they've said, well, there's no point meeting Friday. Let's wait until Monday. I think they should be meeting continuously, but hey, That's just me. And then the thinking is that they agree everything on Monday, iron out the last few planks during the week, and then on Friday, they're going to vote. Two big issues here, Jules. The first one is, which I think is, I wrote a column about this. I think this is actually the tougher of the two things to resolve. But the first one is the medical protocol.
Yeah.
So it has emerged, and look, I've been banging on about this, about how there's been no discussion in public about the medical protocol and how to keep people safe and whatever. It's emerged on Wednesday that a number of team doctors have written to the Premier League. A number of others have, they set up a mailbox where people could ask questions anonymously of the Premier League and how it's going to work. And some of this stuff that these doctors came up with was pretty extreme. Like, how can I, as a doctor, approve a medical protocol when it's not 100% safe?
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you?
It makes sense. And also, let's not forget, I think we touched upon that in the last few weeks, but whose responsibility will it be if something happened to a player? So let's say someone contract the virus, whatever way, while the Premier League has resumed, and God forbid, but there's something bad happening to that player. He has to go to hospital. He has to go in intensive care, this and that. I don't know. He loses some ability to play, or I don't know, anything. Who's responsible? Will it be that club's doctor who, in a way, didn't really have much to say on football resuming? Will it be the Premier League? Will it be the government? Will it be, I don't know, anyone? And if you were a team doctor in the UK, you would be like, I'm not sure that I would take the risk. I want all those players to go on my behalf to go and play again. It's a huge risk, and it's the guy's credibility and name and everything else that would go into that. So if even the doctors are not really sure 100% that it's safe, whatever protocol that people will come up with, I think they're right to be concerned and to voice their concern.
I get the sense, Jules, that, first of all, most doctors aren't stupid. They know that nothing is 100% safe, right? The very definition of leaving your house means it's not going to be 100% safe. Doctors approve protocols for so many different things, from race car driving to mountaineering, a lot of things which are more dangerous. They approve protocols for the military. I don't think, that quote, which struck me, which I mentioned in my piece, about how can I do it if I can't guarantee that it's safe? Like, nobody expects you to guarantee that it's safe. People expect you to clearly define the risks, to make those risks clear to your players, and to mitigate those risks. I think they are annoyed, and I think rightly so, because they haven't been involved since the beginning. You look at, in Germany, the committee that the Bundesliga formed from day one to go and help decide this, it included club doctors. Yeah. It included sort of the highest medical staff from the German FA and the German league, as well as independent experts. Here, it's kind of like, oh, wait, hey, Boris might give us the green light soon. Okay, all right, docs, you guys on board with this? Cool, yeah, let's go. And frankly, that's just absurd. There's obviously a way to do it because they're doing it in Germany, right?
Yeah.
And ultimately, the decision is going to be out of their hands because it will be the government who's going to approve this. But I think what they've lost along the way is a lot of faith from a bunch of players and some coaches who are saying, wait a minute, this is all kind of ass backwards here. We've been asking questions for weeks and we've had no answers. And this is one of the single most important things that you need to go and figure out.
Oh, definitely. And I just think a lot of people in the UK have been talking about, the blueprint from Germany and the Bundesliga, and we can follow it. No, you can't. Every country is different. That's what we've been saying from the beginning. Germany had 7,000 deaths because of the virus. The UK has over 30,000. This is just not the same. It's not the same situation. It was not the same way they handled it. They fought it. Like you said, the fact that the Bundesliga have put a committee together from day one, when the Premier League still hasn't done it 6 weeks in or 7 weeks in, it's just, so you can't compare. So don't give me the like, oh yeah, there's a blueprint. Look, they've done it, so we can do the same. No, you can't do the same. If you've done the same from the beginning, maybe you'll be at the same stage or more or less, and then you'll be more ready, by far more ready to start again than you are now, because it's still a shambles. And the doctor highlighted that as well.
I'm more optimistic about the second hurdle that they have to face, which is, we're trying to explain this in a way that's as pithy as can be, which is that, so the police, who are kind of, I don't want to say they're a law unto themselves, but they can kind of make decisions and really not be questioned by anybody. Their word is final because of security. Have decided, we touched upon this Monday, have decided that you have to play these games in neutral ground. I have a problem with this because it sends a message that you really have zero trust in the population. Because the reason they're doing this is they don't want fans to gather outside. I think the authorities have done a bad job in reading the population to begin with. Remember when they said, like, well, we're not going to have a lockdown. We're going to have herd immunity because, you can't, our population wouldn't accept being locked down for more than 2 or 3 weeks. Well, you know what? Hey, guess what? It's been 6 weeks now, right? We're all still in lockdown, and people have kind of accepted it because when people die, that's what happens. But anyway, the police have come out and said, well, we want to have it in neutral venues because we don't want fans gathering outside. Mark Ogden has a piece up. He's in favor of it. I'm against it. I think it also smacks a little bit of, those unruly football fans. And I think there's a subtext of those unruly Scousers as well, because that's kind of what they're talking about. I think it's stupid. I think if people are going to be stupid and go out and celebrate on the streets and gather in crowds, they're going to do it anyway. They'll just watch it on TV and then, but whatever.
The game is, they would go if they want to.
But that's the law of the land. I spoke to somebody I know who's a QC, who's a Queen's Counsel, and he said, basically, once the police decide something on a national level, it's nearly impossible to get them to, they don't have to explain it. It's impossible even for the government to get them to go and change their mind. So that ship has sailed. So we have to play on neutral ground. So what happened next was, perhaps understandably, a bunch of clubs near the bottom of the table, we've had it from Brighton, we've had it from Aston Villa, have come out and said, well, hang on a minute. If you make us play on neutral ground, given that most of us have played either more or less home games, you're going to relegate some people who've played fewer home games. Yeah. And that's simply unfair. It undermines the integrity of the league. Therefore, we ask that you not have relegation this year. Problem with that, otherwise we're going to vote against it. That is the implied threat. And there's, people are trying to figure out which clubs is it. As it stands today, as of right now on Thursday, the big rumor is that there are 6 clubs that are committed to voting against it. I haven't counted them. They may be lying. I don't know. But that's what people say, 6 clubs, which means if they can only get one more club to flip, football's not coming back because you need 14 of the 20 votes. So you might say, well, why don't they just eliminate relegation, right? Well, there's 2 reasons. One is if you eliminate relegation, you undermine the integrity of the league even more, because then it's just a bunch of kind of empty, meaningless friendlies. And the other factor is the championship and the football league, the tier below, are saying, guys, you have to promote us. It's part of the deal. You have to promote 2 or 3 teams from the next leg down. And Rick Perry came out, and also the Richard Bevan, the head of the League Managers Association, they both came out and said, you're in for a whole bunch of messy lawsuits if you don't promote us. Jules, what are your thoughts there? What's the solution?
Well, like we've been saying from the beginning, I don't think there's one perfect solution anyway. So whatever solution, there will be some unhappy clubs who can then go to court if they want to. I think everybody has to get a bit of perspective, though. This is incredibly exceptional circumstances. So no one is going to be fully happy. So bear that in mind as well, that a lot of people have been dying, that there's more important things than football. And I know everybody's clubs is very important and there's a lot at stake and there's a lot of money involved and all of that. I will get it. I just think, for me, the easiest way or the best way would be that the season stopped. And I know this is
the French surrender monkey.
It's not that. No, it's not. It's just not that. This is not football for me. Telling players on the Saturday morning or at 10 a.m. or you've got a game at 1 p.m. in a neutral ground that we keep secret because we don't want anyone outside the ground. So you have to take your own cars and go to Birmingham if you live in London, for example. And then what like we had Gordon Taylor, who stupidly said, yeah, halves could be shorter than 45 minutes. Well, what's next? We play 9v9? You know, like, well, we can't play with our left foot, just right
that
foot.
Would be a way to preserve distancing if you played 5-a-side on a full pitch, no?
True, that's great. That, like, you know, rugby 7, that would be fantastic instead of 15. And I don't know. I don't even know if I want.
All right, so that's not going to happen.
I want football to come back, but so far everything that I'm hearing or reading is just a bit crazy. I think those neutral venues and all of that. I just think this is not helping football.
My issue, because the obvious compromise solution is, okay, fine. All right, Leeds, West Brom, you guys are winning the championship. You've got a 6-point lead and a 7-point lead. You guys come up and let's have a 22-team Premier League last season. That is one solution to keep everybody happy, or to keep everybody less angry, I should say. I don't think people will go for that solution, though, because 22 teams Premier League means 42 matches instead of 38. It means far more fixture congestion. It means splitting the TV pie next season into 22 parts instead of 20. But you can
scrap the League Cup. No one cares about the League Cup. Scrap the League Cup for 1 year and then you're fine.
I don't want to deal with a 22-team league. I have a better solution. And this is what I advocate in my column. Well, actually, I have my preferred solution, which would be just to split the Premier League into mini leagues and have mini leagues to decide promotion and European places, relegation, European places, and so on. But hey, that's not going to happen. That way you play fewer games, you have less risk, and the games actually mean something. But hey, that's just me. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
Where will Liverpool be playing? So Liverpool
will be playing with the top teams. You can figure it out. There are ways to do this, okay? But anyway, that's not going to happen. So that's just my plan. I am not in charge of the Premier League yet. So, let's leave that to one side. No, I think there's a simpler solution. And Simon Jordan hinted at this and actually ran the numbers. It goes through it in my column, which is simply to compensate people financially. So if you don't have relegation, right, you save about £150 million in parachute payments.
So you stop the season, though, right?
No.
But you said if there's no relegation, there's no point playing because all the games are meaningless. That's what you said.
Yeah, I know,
earlier.
but it's not my favorite thing. But if these numpties want to go ahead with it, and since apparently all these people care about, or their single biggest thing is money, let's stop relegation. Let's scrap relegation, right? But what we do is, you'll still have meaningful games, I guess, for the Champions League and Europa League to a point, and Liverpool can still celebrate their title. But you save yourself £150 million, right? Because there's not going to be any parachute payments next season. So then you take that $150 million, and you can either compensate Leeds or West Brom. If they were promoted next season, they would likely receive between a minimum of £100 million, give or take each, right? So you've got £75 million there already that you can compensate them. And then you go a little bit further and you ask other clubs. If you ask every club, maybe based on where they finish in the table, to give up another, say, 5% of their TV income. Maybe you tier it so that the clubs near the bottom give up more of their TV income, and you create another pool of money, and you go and you give that to the championship, either to Leeds or to West Brom for compensation. Or if Norwich say, hey, you know what? I would rather go down and get the Premier League and get the parachute payment because I've got my ducks in a row, because my players are all on contracts that automatically have if we get relegated. And if you can compensate me a little bit, I'll give my place to Leeds. So then Leeds comes up, and that 75 million that would have gone to Leeds instead goes to Norwich in the championship next year. You can hammer out a deal. And I know it sounds crass, but ultimately, these people are continually crying about money. You heard Christian Perslow say, "Ooh, if Aston Villa go down, it's going to cost us 200 million." I don't know where he's getting these numbers from, but this is the reality of it, right? So if all you care about is money, you can find a solution.
Right. You would agree, and whatever way they choose to start the season again, that June the 12th, which is the date that they have in mind, is really early, considering that the German might not even start before May the 26th. This is really early, right? Or May the 22nd. This is really early to think about June the 12th as a possible date. Or you think it's still possible?
I don't know. Like, you have the reality is we're in uncharted territory here, right? You speak to different doctors, and some people will tell you that the stress of playing under these conditions means that we're going to have a ton of injuries. We're going to have unfit players. I was talking to somebody yesterday who says, the rule of thumb is that for every week off, you need a week of preseason, right? So they've been off for 7 weeks. We'd have to wait another 7 weeks.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't know. I genuinely don't know.
Every 3 days, so they have to be fit to play every 3 days.
So it's even more stress. Yeah.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't know what it's going to look like, but to be honest, unless you want to start in July and finish in September, which you can't do. I mean, that's why my solution actually of the playoffs, that if you could wrap it up with a total of 50 games to decide the Premier League, right? Everybody plays 5 games. I think that would be, you could start a little bit later. You could space the games out. You would have a lot less stress. And by the way, there's 47 games are contracted to be televised, 47. So you wouldn't even need to go and televise more games than that. You could meet your obligations. I don't think it's going to happen.
I like it. But I've got another issue. So I've got a few issues as well. I just wanted to voice quickly. All this talk about you can't celebrate if you score a goal. So you score a goal in neutral venues, no team celebrations. You can't swap shirt if you want to swap shirt like they usually do half time at the end of the game. This is over as well. No spitting. Good luck with that one. I'm like, okay. So
we don't know if these are real.
No, but even if they're real, they've been talked about. They've been talked about like potential having less than 45 minutes. I mean, all of this is just like, this is not football. And I know football as we know it won't be the same for a while. And I get all of that. But this is an extreme. I already had issues with neutral venues and secret stadiums and all of that. But if that's the case, and also what's happened to next season? When are we starting next season? On the same level as they still haven't talked properly about the June 30th deadline of players out of contract.
Yeah. Well, of course, everybody's forgotten about that one.
And also next season, what's next season? September? We start in October. When in my option, if you stop now and you forget about this current 1920 season, you can already think about 2021. And when you want to start mid-August, early August, I don't know. Anyways, but at least the schedule and the programming and everything will be easier to do than now when you say, okay, June the 12th, or let's say even maybe June the 30th, we start. We don't know exactly when you're going to finish. August will be Champions League. You still have a lot of English clubs in Champions League and Europa League. It's going to be an absolute mess.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I said at the very beginning, I said my preferred option would be restart, do if you can, play what you can by June 30th. If you've got the way the Bundesliga are doing, if you only have limited opportunities for games, so be it. Come up with some playoff system, some sort of decider, whatever. It's not going to be super fair, but you know what? It's going to be more fair than this crap that you're wheeling out now. Wrap up the Champions League at the beginning of July if you can, and then take a 6-week break and evaluate where you are and come back in September. That, I think, would have been the route. But, money talks, Jules. And I think that's the reality of where we are.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.